Hello everybody, welcome to the Spooky Pizza Gift Shop. My name is Ken. I am working through a backlog of material here. I have not had a lot of time to get things out, but one of the things I did do about a year ago was buy an old used manual typewriter, which I love and which I used, but I had a problem with the feet and this thing wandering all over the place, and this is how I fixed it. So if you've had a similar issue, you may find this video useful. So this is a recent acquisition. I had some money left in my PayPal account, and I got this typewriter just pretty cheap, really cheap, and it's in good condition. It needed cleaning, it needed lubricating, had a lot of sticky keys, but I'm running into this issue with it. So if you watch me type, well, not that issue. It's been a while since I've typed in a manual typewriter before. Oh. Oh. Ah. Only because I'm on camera. And if you haven't been able to tell what the problem is by now, you may notice that the typewriter is not sitting where it was. It moves around quite a bit as you type. Of course, this is about 14-15 pounds. It's fairly hefty, but it's still wandering. So there's an easy solution to this, and that is to get some of this kind of fuzzy, puffy shelf liner and just slip under it. And that gives it a nice little grip. And so, of course, now when we type, the quick red fox jumps over the, oh, come on, brown dog. You can see that the typewriter, I'm typing what I'm saying here, is, margin release. Oh. Well, I messed that up. It's been a couple of decades since I've used a manual typewriter, so I'm still getting used to it. But that works. That's the easy way to fix this. But I don't like cheap and easy ways. So I'm going to lock the carriage here in the center. I'll take this piece of paper out. And we're going to flip this over, and we're going to see why this is moving around. Oh, come on, be nice. Everybody needs to play nice with each other. All right, and so what you see on the bottom here is I can't quite fit this all in frame. It has 4 rubber bumpers, 2 here in the back and then 2 here in the front. And of course, this model was made somewhere, probably give or take 3 years of 1968. So these rubber bumpers are 55 years old at least. And of course, rubber ages as it gets older, and it oxidizes. So we need to replace these. So I'm going to bring the camera down, and we'll get this nice shiny reflection from the overhead lights off, and show you how I took care of this. Be with you in just a second. All right, so I've got us focused down here on just one of these rubber bumpers, and I'm just going to remove it with my screwdriver. And I do believe this one, the threads might be stripped out a little bit. Maybe not, nope. So what we have here is this rubber bumper. It's not very big. That's fine. It served its purpose back in the day. And this screw that you can see here has a bit of a shoulder on it. Okay, and there's a depression in the bottom of the in the base here of the typewriter, because this rubber bumper, you can see it's actually got a little raised center section that fits in there. And I don't think that's actually adding any structure. I think that's a manufacturing thing, because it keeps that bumper in place quite well until they can get that screw in. These machines were made these machines were made in Japan, actually. They were actually manufactured, even though it's a Royal typewriter, they're manufactured by Seiko. Had to do a lot of digging, and many Bothans died to bring us that information. But anyway, you can see that this shoulder here fits into this hole here perfectly and keeps everything aligned, and the threaded part, oops, there we are. The threaded part is all that sits proud of that. Okay, you can see that bottom of that shoulder sitting right there. Now, I would imagine in the old days, typewriter repair people could just go right to the manufacturer and get replacement parts. And of course, the chances of my finding something even remotely similar to this in this size and shape are pretty slim. So I went to my local hardware store. And the only thing I could find, let me back you up a little bit here, other way, are these furniture bumpers. And these are actually made for going in like the bottom of like a wooden chair leg or a stool leg. And they're quite a bit bigger. So let me get this open here and show you what we're actually looking at in comparison. I've got pieces rolling away on me here. All right, so you get 4 of these bumpers and you get 4 of these screws, and you can see that's quite pointed. That's meant for getting a grip into wood, and it's got quite a coarse thread as well. We're not going to need these. I'm not going to throw them out. I'll save them. You never know when you'll need them for something else. But they're quite a bit larger. So the question is, can I make them work? And I think I can. You can see here they're quite a bit thicker. That's not in and of itself a bad thing. You'll just get a little bit more cushioning effect. They will fit nicely on there, though. They're not going to overhang like that. So I just need to figure out the rest of it. So I did some experimentation, and I found out this is, because it's made in Japan, these are metric, everything on here is a metric thread. This is an M3 screw. So I have here an M3 socket-headed screw that will do this, but this is quite a bit longer, you can see here. So the question is, how do I make this all work? So let me gather some things, and I'll show you what I was able to figure out. Okay, the first thing I should show you is I do have this metric screw set. So these are all button head cap screws. So they have a little, where did it go? They have a little socket. And this kit actually comes with the Allen wrenches that fit these perfectly. So I do a lot of work with computers and cameras and all of that stuff. And so having a spare set of metric screws works really well. And I like the Allen head aspect because sometimes it's a tight fit and I can't fit a full-length screwdriver in there. So let's zoom back in here real quick. My first thought is I need to fill this because if I push this down, it's going to be a weak point because I've got rubber pushing into the space. So what I have here are some 1/4-inch flat washers. And as it turns out, these fit in this little divot just about perfectly. So I'm going to bring you back down here and show you what we're working with. So I'm going to put this in here. That will fill that space nicely. And what I figured out, this is an M3 screw, and this is an M3 washer, because you can see this hole here is rather large, okay? So let me fit it in here, come on. So, I mean, I can actually kind of squeeze this head right through here and pull that screw out. So I need some kind of washer. So I'm going to use this M3 washer, which fits around the head of this screw perfectly well. But that M3 washer is not much bigger than the hole itself. That will work, okay? But it's not going to work as well as I would like. So I'm going to double up on the washers, and I'm going to add an M4 washer. And you can see that fills that hole quite a bit better. So then I can drop this M3 screw into here. So I have 2 washers underneath it, and I think I can just line everything up fairly nicely and hope that I have, yep, there we go. So there is our replacement, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a tighten. I don't want to over tighten this, just enough to squeeze that rubber a little bit. And there we go. That's on there. That's not going anywhere. I'm not going to use any kind of thread lock or anything on this because when these wear out, I'll want to be able to replace these. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back and replace all the other ones here, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Be back in a little bit. Okay, so you can see here I have 4 brand new bumpers on this, and they're in place. They feel good. Of course, I did put the washers with the die side toward the rubber, so the large 1/4-inch washers on the bottom, the die side is going up, and then the washers that went underneath the screw, the washers are going down. So, and I still have my original ones. I have these 4 washers, and I have the 4 screws, and I'm not going to throw these out, okay? I'm going to keep these, and that's because these are original equipment pieces. Should the technology ever happen to arise that I could reproduce these, say, using a 3D printer, which prints in rubber instead of plastic, I would definitely do that. And I want to hang on to these screws as well because these screws, I've worked in the fastener business long enough to know, these are not going to be easy to find. These are custom jobs. So I'm going to hang on to those and keep them more or less forever. But we're going to flip our guy over here. We don't need this anymore. So let's put him down here. There we are. And we'll get another sheet of paper in here. We'll flip it over this time. Unlock the carriage. And I'll talk about this carriage locking feature at a later point because it's rather handy. So now we can sit down and start typing the quick red fox jumped over a lazy brown dog. And this typewriter is not going anywhere. You can see I'm putting it through its paces. All happy families are happy in the same way. I'm paraphrasing Dostoevsky. Is it Dostoevsky? I don't remember. Because I can't remember the exact quote. I can't remember the author. But all unhappy families are unhappy in their own way. So you can see this guy, I can jiggle him around. I'm moving everything else on the table, but he's not going anywhere. So I did not have to do anything to affect what is really a fairly simple repair. I didn't have to weld, I didn't have to drill, I didn't have to do anything to this that physically changes it forever. So this is still intact, basically. And I still have our old parts that I'm saving. Total cost for this, these flat washers, these 1/4-inch flat washers, I think these were $1.79 for 18 of them, so I have 14 left. I think these screw bumpers, I actually picked up 2 packs just in case I screwed one up, were $2.49, and of course I still have 4 screws left over that I can use for something else. And this whole kit of metric screws was just under $9. So, and of course, I still have like almost all of these left, so which I definitely will be using. So it's a fairly cheap modification. I wouldn't call it a repair because I'm not repairing anything. I'm just modifying it by changing out those feet on the bottom. But it's doing the trick. It's going to keep this machine happily typing away for many years to come without wandering away from the dining room table. So, and I didn't have to do anything to change this machine, to change its essence. It's still the same machine. And one of these days, I'll be able to get some better replacements for this. But in the meantime, these little guys, they're doing the trick. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful, please give us a like. If you feel like watching other things along these lines, I do a lot of videos about pencils and pens and writing implements, and typewriters is one of them, and sometimes I get up the energy to produce a daily vlog. So if you like that kind of stuff, please go ahead and subscribe. Whether or not you do, I appreciate your watching. Please go out there, have a great day, stay safe, and spread some joy in the world. See you next time.